Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with a reaction video this time. If you're watching this, you have almost definitely seen it, and if you haven't, you've been living under a rock or you've just not checked your phone all day. But the manager search is finally over and Everton have decided they've landed on a man. We've obviously said about it quite a lot on the channel because it looked almost certain, and that man is Rafa Benitez. Today it was confirmed. He went to Finch Farm earlier on today. He did the photo shoots. He's had some photos with Leighton Baines and them having quite a what looks like an in-depth discussion. He's done the photo op. I feel like he went mainly for the photo op, but he went for the photo op of talking to Duncan Ferguson. He's had a photo with Baines, Ferguson, a couple of the others, all socially distanced, and it looked like some sort of really poor Everton Avengers movie. But yeah, which means that it's done, dusted. If you didn't want it and you had hopes of it falling through, unfortunately, no. It's done. So this is just the reaction to it. Obviously, a lot's come out. It's been a heavy day for the Blues. It's been a heavy day indeed on Twitter. My personal opinion, I've always said on this channel, I'm not keen on him. Not just because of his Liverpool links or the comments that he made 10 years ago, but because I don't think he's who's going to move the club forward. I don't think he's going to develop the club in the way that the club think he might. And we keep hearing this, he's proven he's won something, which makes me think the club are expecting him to win something. I think the club are looking for a bit of instant success, hence the same with Ancelotti, a bit of instant success. And Everton's not built like that. I saw Simon Jordan and Jim White talking on TalkSport about stuff, and Jim White tried to compare Tuchel going to Chelsea from PSG to Benitez going from Real Madrid to Newcastle. I don't know what he was talking, a load of waffle. But Simon Jordan said, it's across the board. And it made me think, like, obviously, if you're a club like Chelsea, you can afford to skip managers because they have the players. Unfortunately, we don't have the players. So when, Usmanov went to Abramovich, and Abramovich was like, yeah, because he switches managers, we don't have that type of calibre of players where we don't have world-class players dotted around that you can just get a manager in and who can work with them. We need to develop players and we need to sign good players, and help develop them, because that's how you're going to get there, unless we start spending silly amounts of money. But then you're never going to get the elite without Europe. And I just don't think he's the guy to build that. I think he'll do okay. I think we'll finish 10th next season, 11th, 12th, similar to this season, which, wouldn't be a bad, wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to us, but I wouldn't call it a success. The other problem I have with him is his style of football. Sam Allardyce, of all people, has come out and said that, if Everton fans didn't like my style of play, I don't know what they're expecting under Rafa. And I knew this, and I've said it a couple of times on this channel. He says he plays a 4-2-3-1, he plays a 4-5-1. It's very defensive. I think if you didn't like Ancelotti's defensive tactics this year, I think you are in for a really long year. But on top of all that as well, I also just don't think he's worth the trouble. And when I say that, I mean the fan base is split. A lot of people disconnected. A lot of people, I just don't know how to feel about it. A lot of people are like, right, see you next season. A lot of people are like, I can't wait for the season to be over. A lot of people think he'll be sacked anyway. And I've got him on the average of 18 months. I think he'll last no longer than the average, which is 18 months for a manager for us. Just because his back's up against it. I've said a couple of times, the worst thing that could happen is we lose to Southampton, because straight away, boom, his back is well and truly pushed up against the door. And I saw a couple of people, commenting, going, well, yeah, spin it the other way. What happens if we win? And I think that's the best way you can get off. We keep saying we've got an easy-ish, well, not an easy, but a nice start to the season. And he's got to win those games. He's got to win those games. And if he does, that's brilliant. He'll gain a bit of momentum. The team will gain a bit of momentum. And I think fans will start to, not accept him, but I think fans will ignore the fact it's Rafa Benitez for a little bit. It will buy him some time that he will need. But if he loses the first game and then he goes on a bad spell and loses 3 of those 5 games that we're saying are a nice start, yikes. And the pressure mounts then, and the boos, and once the crowd turn against you at Goodison, you're done. We've seen it a lot of times. When the crowd turn, the club tend to sack them after that, because there's no turning them round. And this fella's got such a hard task. I honestly, it's blown my mind. But he has been announced, so we'll talk a little bit more about it, and then I'll get into some of my opinions. like I said, I just don't know if he's worth the trouble. But I mean, it's one of them. It's happened. We've got to support the club and the players. I do think you can support the club and the players without supporting the man in charge. I do think that's not from the realms of possibility. And I know that either side is saying, I'm not supporting this, and other sides are going to support him, get behind him. And I think you're okay to land in that middle if you want to support the club, but you don't support their decision in Rafa. And I think you've got every right to complain if you didn't want him, because he's quite a decisive character. And at the end of the day, no one should tell you how you should support your club. You support them. Your feelings are as accepted as everyone else's on this. It's just how you obviously show your feelings, aka the awful banners threatening him outside his family home, or not outside his family home, etc. But anyway, Phil Jagielka's also said stuff on the arrival. He said that the incoming manager, Benitez, needs to have a fast start. I literally just said that. He needs to win all of those games, and he needs to really, that will buy him so much time. It won't change anyone's mind on him, I don't think, who are against it, but it will buy him some time, and that's what he'll need. He'll need that break. Because fans are, I've seen the images today, he's done all the scarf images, and it does look weird. It is hard to swallow a little bit, and many fans will straight away won't accept it, and he needs that time. He needs to buy himself some time here. He's obviously, him and Moshiri, and they've all done they've done the photos, they've done the video, the sit down interview, the written up article. So I've got some quotes here. We'll start with the man himself, Rafa Benitez. He has come out and said that he's delighted to join Everton. Throughout this process, he's been impressed with the ambition shown by senior representatives of the club and their desire to bring success to a historic club. He said, "I believe this is a club going places. I'm determined to play a big part in the club's hope to achieve it." So, bar the fact he hasn't said project a new stadium, copy and paste of what shades of Ancelotti there. I mean, he's not promised anything, and he's not blown too much smoke in Everton fans, which I think is good. I mean, he's also done a sit-down video interview where he spoke about his Liverpool links, which was a massive elephant in the room, and I think did need discussing. And he said that he's managed in Naples, Valencia, all around the world, and every club he's gone to. Liverpool, he's fought for the team, he's fought for the club, and he will do that here. He will fight for the club, which, I mean, I was interested to see how he would answer that, and I'm glad that it was asked, because that is the elephant in the room that you can't avoid. And I think if the club had tried to brush over it, it would have gone down 10 times worse. Obviously, no one's mentioning the throwaway comment at the club, because it was a club journalist's done. It's clearly done via the club, and they're not going to, put him in too much hot water. I mean, Newcastle fans said he fought for them. You know me, he's not my number one. I'm actually quite against it, but I'm trying to look at the positives, because we don't want to be all doom and gloom. I mean, if he keeps to his promise and fights for the club, then brilliant. I don't see him lasting. That's my only problem. And Simon Jordan hinted that this was a bit, it was the closest Premier League job to him, and it suited Rafa Benitez, and that's why he's gone. He's not gone to excel himself. He's just gone because this is the suited job for him. And I feel like I have to kind of agree with Simon Jordan. So everything he says sort of falls on. I feel like everything he says will fall on deaf ears for a lot of the fans as well, until results are there. If the results are there, maybe people turn, but I don't know. I mean, this is my opinion. You guys might have a different one, but I feel like results are going to do more talking than he ever could, because he's just got such a hole to talk his way out of that it's almost impossible. But yeah, like I said, he said that he fought for Liverpool, and he'll fight for Everton. I mean, part of me is, firstly, I don't think this is all Benitez. I think every question that Everton fans have, aka, what do you feel about the fans' reaction? How's this happened? I think they're all should be aimed at Moshiri and the board, not Benitez. So you can't really go, well, what do you think about the fan reaction? Because Rafa Benitez has just accepted a job that's close to his house, very well suited, and he's been wanting to get back in the Prem for a while. So we are obviously the most suitable job for him, and he's just accepted that. The questions of what about the fans, what about this club staff, what about Marcel Brands, where's this leave the club, all need to be asked to the higher powers, in my opinion, and they're not going to sit down and do an interview like that. No, siree. But we do have quotes from the powers above. We will start with Farhad Moshiri. He said, "Rafa has impressed us greatly with his knowledge and experience, but above all, the passion and hunger he's shown to join our club. We are appointing Rafa because we believe he'll bring success to the club and Evertonians. To put it simply, we need to be competing at the top end of the league and winning trophies. Rafa is a proven winner with huge experience, coaching internationally, and we have secured the best man to achieve this. I mean, I think this is copy and paste from the Ancelotti appointment, very similar quotes. And it ties into, I think they're trying to buy these proven managers and expect instant success. Okay, Ancelotti leaving stumped us a bit because no one saw it coming. But I always feel like they go, oh, he's won the Champions League. We get him, he'll win the Champions League. And it's not the case. You need to build towards being that type of team. If you look at Leicester, they're very, very good now. They're trying to compete for, they're in the Champions League this year and they will try and compete further. But Leicester build, they recruit properly. There's one man in charge of recruitment or one side. You don't see the owners sticking their noses in. And obviously that's how it's done. And obviously at Everton we do it differently. I mean, I might be wrong and Rafa might stay for the 3 years, maybe longer, and we might build and it might be different. But the way I think that the club are trying to go is you hire these big names who've won something and expect them to come and win something. And that's, unfortunately, unless you're one of the big boys like City where you've already got the players in place for that, that's not how you're going to do it. You need to nurture, progress, buy gems, build them up. Like the Everton of old, we had Lukaku, he turned into a star, and then you sort of hope you can keep your stars with the money coming in. That's what we need to do. You can't just, go out and get a Champions League manager. I'm pretty sure you could get Guardiola. I don't think he'd get, be able to play a fine tune out of some of the players. You need to build the club around somebody and an ethos. My opinion is that you should have a director of football. You should pick your style of play, and you should buy the players that suit that style of play, and a manager that will implement that. And then that puts the club in a position where if the manager did leave, you could bring in another manager and his style of play matches the players you've bought, so you're not constantly going, oh, they don't suit his style of play, they're not his players, because you will have players. So for instance, if Southampton decide to fully back Hasenhüttl and his gegenpressing football and they buy all the players for him and he leaves, it's not the end of the world because there's more managers that play similar styles of play to him. Look at like Red Bull, RB Leipzig, Red Bull, they're the perfect example. Hasenhüttl's managed there, Nagelsmann's managed there, Jesse Marsch now managing there. They all play gegenpressing 4-2-2, 4-4-2, I think it's more 4-2-2. And so it doesn't matter who leaves because they will get a manager who can play again, almost like a carbon copy. And I feel like that's the best way to run a football club. And Benitez, I guess you could argue Benitez is slightly more defensive and pragmatic, so it suits the Ancelotti style that we have. It's just not a very exciting style of football. We also have some, like Rafa has mentioned about Marcel Brands, which I thought was interesting because obviously Brands, was reported to not be very keen on this, and that was a worry. He's put, Marcel is a professional, I'm a professional, we will work together, we will keep talking, have meetings to talk about the club's ideas, we have to do in players' futures, about the players. The communication between us has to be fluent and it'll be talking to each other all the time. I'm really pleased that I have already been in contact with him. I have the plan for Everton's summer transfer business. It's a bit worrying that Marcel Brands hasn't said anything on the appointment because I'm sure he did under Ancelotti, but maybe I'm reading into that a little bit too much. It's good to see that they've had contact, I guess. It's a bit worrying that the first sentence is we're both professionals because that makes it very obvious that, neither of them really wanted to, are keen to work together but are going to have to. And that's always a horrible atmosphere in any working environment. But I think moving on from that, I think the best thing for them to do is to talk constantly. Obviously, Marcel Brands has transfer targets he'll want done. Denzel Dumfries is one, and Matthias Nunes. And hopefully Rafa can match that, and hopefully they can work together, and Brands will sort of help build the team. But like I said, overall, I don't think this will be a very long appointment in my opinion. I think this will last 18 months, and then we will move on, if not less than that. And I think the most important thing for Rafa is to get wins straight away. Otherwise, he's in trouble. And for Moshiri, it's a massive gamble because if this goes wrong, similar to like the Allardyce kickoff was a bit silly, as in like it was a silly appointment and the kickoff afterwards was quite bad. But I think this is the defining one where if this goes wrong, he will really, like Everton fans, Evertonians, we will all really let him know how badly this is messed up. So for Moshiri's sake as well, you sort of hope this pays off because it's a huge gamble. But that's been my reaction. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment down below if you agree, disagree, what's your opinions on Benitez. yeah, just let us know everything from the fallout for today. Don't forget to follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter. The link's in the description as always, and you can follow me on Twitter. Mine's also in there. And stay safe, and let's move forward with the season.